It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, the dreaded Monday. It has arrived, and as always, it is going to be another busy Monday, especially for real estate agents. Lots of opens today for the agents to walk through from just about every suburb across Australia, and I hope that you managed to snare a property over the weekend. If not, it might be coming up with this brand new week. You know, fresh opportunity, new enthusiasm, think positively, the worm will turn. All of those cliches are popping out on our Monday morning, August the 11th. And good morning to Jenny in Brisbane. Thank you for taking the time to email us, Jenny. And I think it's a very relatable story to our first home buyers. You mentioned that you are in your 20s. You have been saving for your own property over the last 3 years, often foregoing having a social life in order to get ahead. You don't have a partner. You're frustrated with what is coming next, you say, with rate cuts that will, in your words, push out your saving time because of the inevitable price increases once rates come down further. You say that it's like the animal kingdom, survival of the strongest. You feel like a lioness baby cub. And I can see how that analogy works given your present situation. You will probably, you say, rent vest because Brisbane is where you were born and raised and you don't want to move anywhere else. And I get that because Brisbane is a wonderful city. You say that you've got another 2 years of saving, but when the inevitable happens and prices soar once more, you will probably have 3 more years of saving. And there is no easy answer to that, is there? Thanks for taking the time to kind of put that frustration into an email. I think a lot of the first home buyers listening this morning to your story is saying, yep, that is me. I can totally relate. And we do say all the time to let us know your property journey. And rent vesting probably makes a lot of sense if you have decided to do that. Now, we've got a brand new way for you to reach us by leaving a voice message. Yes, this is a great tool because below we've got a voice message link. Just go to below this podcast episode, click on the link, hold your phone up to your mouth and start talking. Super, super easy. We look forward to hearing from you and adding your voice into the Real Estate Breakfast. More voices, the better. Now, coming up on our Monday, we are going to revisit this expectation of what was happening in the Melbourne market after the first rate cut, with this theme of property prices going up this morning. I think this is back to early April of this year from Madeline, who is a buyer's agent, and what she noticed. And also we're taking you off to France this morning to talk to Lillian about the latest numbers from Dubai's property sales market. We didn't get the chance the other day to highlight that. And also for the Aussies who are moving to Dubai for real estate careers, there is some very good advice from Lillian coming up on when to make that move. Because of the heat wave, you don't want to be moving then. So all of that is coming up.
Don't navigate the real estate market alone. Let us help guide you in the world of real estate every day. Make better informed decisions with the latest news and insights.
Let's right now welcome back to the Real Estate Breakfast Madeline Roberts from MR Advocacy, and a very good morning to you, Madeline. As I say, you know, people breaking free from mortgage prison because of that sentiment going up a little bit. It's probably something you've noticed in your neck of the woods.
Thank you, Craig. It certainly is. So even in anticipation of that first rate cut, we saw consumer confidence returning. We saw so many people who were otherwise waiting on the sidelines starting to return. And obviously, since that cut has taken place, since then, it's really been going crazy on the ground in the Melbourne market, particularly in those lower price points. So it's been very interesting to see.
Yes, the question is, are the falling rates about to supercharge or even turbocharge the property market? It's always the same. There's either not enough or too much. It's feast or famine. So what do you think? Do you think that it's going to super turbocharge the property with these rate cuts?
I certainly do. I love how you said feast or famine, because I think it's definitely time to feast. People are just coming out in droves. Like, open for inspections currently, we're seeing 40 to 50 groups through, and properties are selling above the range. So buyers are definitely out in force. And if we see more rate cuts, there's only going to be more lending and more money and more people out in full force. So I think it's going to be a very interesting 12 to 24 months in real estate if we see those further cuts.
So with that first rate cut, being a buyer's agent there in Melbourne, that 25 basis points, when that was slashed, what did you see weeks afterwards? Like, we've heard from others saying it was just so positive as a result of sort of turning the bend. Is that fair to say?
100%. So what we're seeing at the moment on the ground is prices appearing to be back now at where they were in 2021 during the COVID peak. So Melbourne's had quite a slump over the past few years. We've kind of leveled out now, and we're definitely seeing that increase. As soon as we had that rate cut, purchases were really coming out in droves. It's been great to see, and it's great overall for the Melbourne market. I think we've been well overdue.
Grab your weekly dose of inspiration to help build a real estate portfolio. We talk to the best in the business every day. Learn from the professionals and know your property with us.
Let's go right now to France, where Lillian is there. And a very good morning to you, Lillian. You're not feeling the greatest, unfortunately, coming down with the nasty COVID.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse my voice, Craig. Luckily, I'm on the tail end of it, but it's been 3 weeks of quite intense lethargy. We all know the symptoms, but I guess it's just, unfortunately, it's something that happens when you travel these days. Going through airports, big cities, it's hard to avoid.
A lot of people sort of around the world, they have this attitude of, oh, well, COVID's gone. I've heard so many people that I know, when we talk about COVID, it's like, oh, well, it's gone, it's not around anymore. And it's like, no, hang on. That is not the reality at all. It is still here. It is still killing people. And even, for yourself there, Lillian, you're young, you're fit, but it has knocked the stuffing out of you.
Yeah, it's been really hard to get my breath back, I have to say. I've been trying to go for a couple of jogs this week, and you can just feel it wheezing through those lungs, unfortunately.
You're in France. What area of France? Whereabouts are you?
So I'm in Bordeaux at the moment, which is on the west coast. I only got here a couple of days ago. I don't know if you remember, but I sort of tried to escape the Dubai heat for a couple of months. I spent the last month actually in Corsica, which is an island just off the south of France. It's been quite incredible. Look, I wouldn't call it a holiday. I'd call it remote working, but it's from a beautiful location and escaping that sort of 50, 60 degree heat in Dubai.
Actually, Mario isn't here, and the reason he's not is not because he's got COVID, but he couldn't make the connections. We had a technical issue, and one of the questions I was going to ask Mario was, in 1978, or whatever the year was that he started in real estate, if he was to say to his manager in real estate back then, hey, I'm going to France to remotely work for the next couple of months, the boss would have looked at him sideways.
Oh, absolutely. Look, 1978, that was a bit beyond before my time. Definitely no internet then. We're very, very lucky now to be able to work remotely. All the Airbnbs I've stayed in, the first question I've asked is, what's your Wi-Fi speed?
Yeah, because without Wi-Fi, we're not talking to you. And it's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, the connectivity to be able to be anywhere in the world and to connect on platforms like this, we all get together without actually having to be face-to-face.
Well, absolutely. And you touched on it last week with Matt, the listener, who's speaking about WhatsApp groups. So having this internet connectivity, I'm able to be in touch with all my sort of work WhatsApp groups. I'm able to be in touch with clients. I've got a partner who's on the ground in Dubai who's able to do viewings for me. And it just would not be possible without, the speed of the internet we have these days.
Yeah, so you mentioned the reason you're in France is to escape the heat of Dubai. Right now, it's very sticky. Last year, just explain to those people that are thinking of entering the real estate industry how you might want to line up the new job for September rather than now, because it'll make things a lot easier to work in.
Yeah, look, there's no denying there is that summer slowdown that sort of starts from July onwards. It doesn't mean there's no business out there, so you can definitely start working in that time. And look, you'll have your pick of the clients because everybody's on holiday. For me personally, last year, I had started at a new office in August. I needed some sort of time when it wasn't too busy to get used to the new systems. Definitely take advantage of being able to get out of Dubai when it is 52 degrees out there if you can.
Now, we're into August now, and July turned out to be quite the roller coaster in Dubai real estate. Can you walk us through the standout trends and figures from last month that you have observed?
Yes, we just mentioned these sort of summer cool down periods. In July, week 29, the total real estate transactions in Dubai was 8.16 billion, which sounds like a lot. It was just over 4,000 transactions. Sort of, if you compare it to the week before that, halfway through July, it was 52% less. So it dropped from 16.99 billion. It's only half the amount. So, what actually happened there? That's a big drop. So we know traditionally that there's not only the summer slowdown, but also a mid-year slowdown. The off-plan market has a big impact on the numbers over summer because developers, they traditionally sort of time their launches and their handovers for the peak seasons being sort of November, December, and then the beginning of the year until April. They also tend to offer promotions and discounts later in the year. So these off-plan sales in July, they were down by 20% in that last week to 2.74 billion sales. So we see this reflected in the numbers. And then we also know about Dubai's First Home initiative. This was launched in early July. Look, there's a possibility that this might have temporarily shifted demand towards specific discounted first-time buyer segments.
We are your local source for unbiased, expert insights into the world of real estate. We are not a real estate company. Our only objective is to help you better understand the real estate market.
We'll actually be spending a night sleeping in our cars to raise awareness of the forgotten women. These are our aunts, they're our mothers, they're our sisters, they're our daughters. They're people just like us that find themselves challenged when it comes to affordable housing.
We have seen remarkable growth, haven't we? And it continues, and I'm maybe overly optimistic and bullish, but I think it's going to continue to grow because I can only talk about our area, which is Bayside.
I'm signing everything on my phone and then sending it back to them. But then I realized that this actually comes from a mutual trust. And I think Dubai government is actually taking this very seriously. They don't allow any scams or any other things happening.
And this downsizing phenomenon, I think, is in part due to unlock that cash locked in their family home and to give themselves a prolonged period of independence and independent living by downsizing to something a bit more manageable.
It's interesting, you get a lot of people that come in and think it's going to be easy and they quite quickly drop out because they haven't got, I guess, the ethic or the patience to grind away and reap the rewards ultimately.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.